What's up, YouTube? It's your boy Simply P. Welcome to the channel. This is my first video. Please like and subscribe below. Thank you for viewing. First and foremost, few things. Big shout out to Tall Guy Car Reviews, Mr. Organic, who've encouraged me to do a YouTube to really share my life and share my motivational stuff with the world. So I'm grateful for those guys for encouraging me to do this. This channel, man, it's my life, man. I'm going to talk about motivation, a lot of motivational stuff. I'm going to give tips about life, tips about finance. I'm going to talk about cars. I'm going to just really be an open book. I have a lot to share with the world, and I want to be able to help people. And so they can learn from my mistakes and my successes and either repeat them or not make the same mistakes that I did. So I would like to do that today. So today I want to touch on a little principle that I learned my first year playing professional basketball. I remember being overseas listening to a podcast. I don't know exactly which one, but I'll never forget what the speaker said. And it's a principle that I've lived by. I wish I would have learned earlier in life. And everybody that I meet, I try to impress upon this small little principle about money that can really change your life and your perspective about money. So here's how the principle goes. It's save a little, spend a little, give a little. Those three things. So anytime any money incoming to you, you split them up into them three buckets. So I'll touch each bucket and just go over why you do each one and why all three of them are important every time you get any incoming money. So the first one, save a little. So obviously I feel like this is one of the most important ones is saving. So every time you get some money, say you get $100, I teach my daughter this. Every time you get $100, that whole $100 coming in to you is not yours. It always is split up into the three buckets. So I think this save bucket has to be anywhere from 10 to 25%. Personally, me, I save 25%. And that save is for a rainy day fund. It could be for an emergency fund. It could be paying your future self. Anything that's going into a bucket that is for the future. You got to get into that habit. I think most young people don't learn the lesson early of saving. They feel like if I get $100, all $100 is mine to spend right now. No. When you get $100, 10 to 25%, that's $10 or all the way up to $25 goes into the savings, paying your future self. This is how you build wealth and get used to investing, get used to saving that money for yourself. We live in a society that don't truly teach you about saving. It's instant gratification, everything now. So I get my $100, I can spend it now, and then I'll get another $100. But no, a portion of your money, 10 to 25%, has to go to pay for your future self. So that's money that's going to me in the future. That money is for a rainy day. That money is if something happens, an emergency fund. You always gotta have that money set aside. And in my case, I was making so much money as a professional basketball player that when you see your account growing that much, you're thinking like, dang, what to do with all this money? So that little 10, or in my case 25%, I was putting to work, go to work for me, to my future self. So put that 25% away, and I know my money is my number one employee, that it always needs to be working. So I put that money to work for me. So put that money, stash that 25% away. Make it work for you. The number one rule of this one is save. Save a little. Save a little. So I like to share stories from my own life to really drive home every point that I make. So I'm going to share a couple of stories of why, saving is so important. Not only because you're saving for a rainy day fund, you're saving for an emergency, you're saying that you're saving to pay your future self, but you're also saving to take advantage of opportunities that may come later in life that you want to take advantage of. And the saddest thing is for opportunity to come and then you don't have the financial means to be able to seize the opportunity when it comes. So I'm going to share two stories. One story of when opportunity came my way and I wasn't able to take full advantage of it because I didn't have the money. And then another story when opportunity came my way and I did put these principles of save a little, spend a little, give a little into affecting my life. They were actively going in my life, and I was able to take advantage of it. First story is I had a buddy in college. His name was Donnie, man. Donnie was a big-time football player at Ohio State. He owns a water company right now. Shout out to OH2O, doing big things, man. Y'all go support my guy. Donnie had came to me and said, PJ, look, man, it's a penny stock. He was big into the stock market long before I ever was. This is when I wasn't at the time. Donnie had came to me with a tip like, man, look, man, I'm investing in this penny stock. I'm buying thousands of shares. His buddies, who are your friends with, were big in this industry. And they kind of like, you know, knew it was coming down the pipeline and knew that this was a growing industry. So they kind of had told him, man, like, invest in these stocks. These are a good thing. They're penny stocks now, but they're going to grow. So Donnie came to me, as a good friend would do, and was like, PJ, like, man, I'm going to invest in these stocks. I think you should do the same thing. They're really cheap. You know, it's a little bit of money. If it goes wrong, then you're not going to lose that much, but you should invest. So I'm like, man, you know what? Like, all right, yeah. And I kind of was just bluffing him for real because I didn't have the money. I didn't have the money to lose on these stocks. So I kept bluffing. Donnie was like, man, if you don't got the money, because he can kind of see my hesitation when he's speaking to me, he was like, I'll give you the money. I'll borrow you some money. You go do it. And I'm like, nah. I don't want to lose your money. You know what I'm saying? So I just kept bluffing. But I remember adding the stocks onto my phone, like on my iPhone at the time, you know, the stocks thing. So I remember adding them and just kind of keeping track of them. So a couple years go by, and I don't really, you know, after the first couple of months, I don't really watch it no more. Donnie was in and out of it. We talked about it a few times, but I don't say nothing. A couple years go by, and I just happened to click on that stock thing and just kind of look through. When I tell y'all, I looked at that stock, and it went up. It was under 50 cents. It was above $7 or $8 at the time. I couldn't believe it. I was so salty. I literally had lost tens of thousands of dollars that Donnie had made. And he had told me a couple years ago, man, just put, you know, $5,000, $6,000, $7,000 in here, you know, and we can just let it sit. You know, that's not a lot of money. You know, at the time, it wasn't a lot of money to, you know, to us. It was a lot of money to me. It wasn't a lot of money to Donnie. It was a lot of money to me. But, you know, I wish I would have saved my money and had a chance to take over the opportunity. I would be $50,000 richer. I mean, that's not a whole bunch of money, but that's a lot of money to people, you know, just regular folks like myself. So that's one opportunity that I had missed out on because I just didn't have the money. Even if I would have invested $500, $1,000, $1,500 in that, I would have, you know, came up big time. Now, another story of how I bought my current home. So I was overseas, and this is after I finished. I forgot which year it was, but I came back. But I had been stacking money away because I knew there was a lot of things I wanted to do. I wanted to get married. I was about to get married. I wanted to buy a home. I just wanted to be prepared for these different things as they came. So, you know, I had stashed this money away, and thank God that I did. So I was looking for a home. It was a long process, man, maybe 5-6 months. We kept getting into bidding wars, and we would lose. We would, you know, pay over. We would, you know, offer over the asking price and still lose. And one day, you know, I'm looking. I found a lady who was not doing so well, and she really wanted to just get out of this house and be done with it. I came and looked at the house, and the house was like perfect for what we wanted at the time, you know. And she was like, you know, I'm willing to do contract for deed. You can lock up the house and blah, blah, blah. And I had the money right there to be able to take advantage of that. So I offered the lady that. We kind of did the contract. And I ended up coming into like an amazing home for dirt cheap. And fast forward month and a half or 2 months later, my neighbor sells his house for $100,000 more than what I bought my house for. So instantly $100,000 of equity into my house in 2 months. All because I was able to take advantage of this opportunity. This lady wanted to move. She didn't want to deal with this house no more. And I was able to hop right on it. And I had the money to lock it up for contract for deed and take advantage of it. So that was a situation where I was really able to flourish because I had saved. I had stuck by my principles early in life and didn't go instant gratification because I knew I had goals and opportunities and things that I wanted to do farther down the line. So saving is that very important aspect. Next one, number two, is spend a little. Quality of life has to go for something. Nobody wants to work, labor for their money, and then not spend it. That don't even make no sense. You got to live in the moment. You got to spend. You got to have fun. That's all a part of living. We call it living in the dash. You have to spend that money. So you take half that money, maybe a little bit more, 60% of that money, and you spend it on whatever you would like, whatever you may need. You know, for me, I love cars, so I spend my money on cars. I love having a great time with my family, so I do a lot of vacations and stuff with my family and friends. But you got to spend some of that money. You don't want to become a person who saves so much that you don't enjoy your life along the way. Because who wants to save all their money all the way to the end, and then you may not be there to really enjoy it. So quality of life has to speak for something. So you got to spend a little bit. So that's as important as saving, is spending and living in the moment. The last principle is give a little. I think this is a very, very important principle that is truly not taught a lot. At a very young age, my mom taught me that 10% of any amount of my money that came in goes to tithes. So I've been raised by my mom and my dad that I know that if I get $100, $10 goes to God because He's blessed me with the ability to earn that money. So I got to give His first fruits right in front. So now everybody may not, tithe to church, which is okay, but that 10%, that give a little bit, go give and sow seed to somebody else's life. Go give and impact people. That giving is a very, very important thing. People, before you can ever get, you gotta give. You gotta give. You gotta sow into people. And I believe it's like, man, it's beyond important to be able to sow in somebody else's life. Give, even if it's small. And look, if you get $100, use $10 or $5 to, give to somebody else. I always tell my daughter, a showing example with my daughter. I tell her, look, your friends come over, you got this little bucket for giving, take them to the store and you say, look, candy on me. That just gets you in the mindset that, let me impact others with my money. Let me take a little bit of my money and give it to the homeless. One day we're driving past and my daughter wanted to give, $1 to the homeless guy. Okay, you got a little bit of money set aside for that. But that kind of stuff, makes you feel good inside. That's sowing into the universe. I've done that plenty of times. I give money to, I got a AAU team, a girls basketball AAU program. So I give to a lot of the girls to give them opportunities that I was always given. I give to my church. I always want to be trustworthy with the money that I get. I feel like, this is just a lesson about life. If you are blessed to be able to earn and to be able to get, then you need to pay that forward. Pay that little bit of forward. Pay that little bit of money and good energy, all of that forward, because you're blessed to be able to have that opportunity. So I believe that's very important. Those are our three principles, man. Save a little, spend a little, give a little. So just to sum this all up, I got a unique, funny story about my little brother, Ziggy the Goat. Follow Ziggy the Goat on here. Wave is crazy. He's the man. But I remember him calling me on the phone like, PJ, I just been working with Dad. I got $300. I'm like, dang, you got $300. You the man. He a young kid at this time, like third, fourth grade. So I'm like, you the man. So he's like, I'm about to get that, I don't know if it's a PS3 or Xbox. I don't know what, some gaming console. He's like, so I got my $300. I'm about to buy a gaming console. And I said, whoa, hold on. You got $300. You remember what I taught you? I said, save a little, spend a little, give a little. So that $300 ain't all yours. And he like, what? What do you mean? Yes, it is all mine. I said, so I told you the first principle is save a little bit. So you got to take 10% of that money and put it in your piggy bank. Save it for later, for your future self. So that's $30 gone. I said, and you got to take another 10% of that money and give a little bit. In our situation, we said, give to the church. I want you to give 10% of tithes. He was like, man, what? So how much money do I got then? So I told him, regardless of what you're saying to me, Ziggy, you got $240. You don't have $300 to spend. So he was salty type, super salty with me. Like, got out the phone, all right, bro, I gotta go. So he hung up. He was mad, went and complained to my mom, told her like, oh, PJ telling me I don't have all this money. I gotta give some to the church. I gotta save a little bit. So my mom called me later and was like, your brother was mad at you because he's been working towards this game, saving this money so he can buy this game. And I said, yeah, I know he has, Mom, but this principle is bigger than just this game. This is a life thing. Like, if I teach him now how to save, how to spend, how to give, this lesson will help him way later in life. She says, I 100% agree. We had that conversation. That was like Monday, Tuesday in the week. So fast forward now to Sunday. I'm at church. I'm sitting, absorbing a good word. And my brother walked past, got this huge cup full of change. So I'm like, this boy doing got the cup all in his pocket hanging sideways. I'm like, he's tripping. So he goes, sits down. So we listen to the word, song service, everything, and then tithes and offering time comes. So he comes back there to me and he's like, I'm like, boy, what you got this big old cup for? And he's like, this is with a big smile on his face. Man, these are my tithes. Y'all, I can't even express the joy I felt that he had truly listened to me. Like, that is so big to learn that lesson at a young age because he didn't want to save that money. And to be able to have the discipline and the trust to listen to me and say, like, that give a little, will go a long way. Pay your tithes. So let me tell you something. When you do the right thing, when you sow into the universe, when you give a little with your money, the universe gives back to you. God gives back to you. My dad ended up giving him the money so he could buy the game. But he didn't even know. He didn't do no more work. My dad just gave him the money because he seen him following that principle. I was just so happy that my dad gave him that money because it really showed my brother that if you follow principles in life, life rewards you. Life rewards you. We ended up getting the game, but I just thought that was a crazy story. He came to church with that big old cup. He like, these is my tithes. He was super happy. It just brought so much joy to see him following that principle. And, to this day, my brother, still a young kid, but he's keeping them principles intact. And now we go to games sometime, and I see him at the concession. I'm like, boy, who gave you all that money? You spend all this money. Who gave you all that money? He like, oh, I got this from my savings. I just be cracking up. He be buying all kinds of stuff. But that just shows the power of that principle. Okay, one last time. Here's the principle for y'all. Tip of the day. Here it is. Save a little, spend a little, give a little bit. Them three, man, very, very simple principle, but could change your life. Use it right now, implement it. It's very simple. The percentages don't really matter, but just make the buckets. Make the buckets and just get used to handling your money that way. Them three principles, handle it. It's your boy Simply P. All I can ever be is me. Until next time, peace.